movie is Speak No Evil, a psychological horror thriller written and directed by James Watkins. So this movie is actually a fairly recent remake, with the Danish version of the film coming out in just 2022. The film follows the Daltons, who are a polite, reserved American family currently living in London. The Daltons make quick friends with a brash but exciting British family while on vacation in Italy. The British family then invites the Daltons out to their farm in the countryside for a remote getaway in rural England. When the Daltons arrive, the British family continues to make faux pas after faux pas, making the Daltons more and more uncomfortable. Each social blunder made by the British family is continuously excused by the Daltons, particularly by the husband Ben, in an attempt to keep the situation copacetic. As the mounting irregularities continue to escalate in both frequency and severity, the Daltons are forced to decide when enough is enough and their manners can be cast aside. This movie was a very fun horror thriller, and it will absolutely make you want to look away because it is so uncomfortable to watch. And not because of gore or extreme violence, but because this movie is filled with such intensely agonizing social interactions, it will make you want to crawl out of your skin. If you're a person who strongly dislikes awkward conversations and moments, this is basically a horror movie tailor-made for you. It felt familiar to a lot of horror movies, which really isn't a criticism, but it also really maintained its originality through its unexpected twists and turns. This is essentially a cautionary tale that's following the frog and boiling water analogy, which, if you're unfamiliar with the analogy, the premise is that if a frog suddenly finds itself in boiling water, it will simply jump out. But if that same frog enters room temperature water, and then that water is slowly brought to a boil, the frog won't be able to detect the danger until it's too late. There are so many scenes where the Americans realize that something is wrong. They realize that these people that they are staying with are not normal, and that they themselves, in fact, want to leave, and they restrain themselves from doing so purely because they don't want to be ill-mannered. And these two families really are perfect opposites of each other in nearly every way. There is the courteous, meek, upper-class American family teeming with self-constraint, and then there is the blue-collar, uncouth British family, so brazen they care little, if at all, about social graces. I think the movie does a really good job of depicting that both of these extremes aren't great. Being respectful is a good thing, but not to the point that it will put you and your family in danger. Similarly, being completely free and unencumbered to speak your mind is a good quality, but it can also lead to its own set of problems. Ultimately, I think watching this, you realize the importance of setting boundaries while being civil, but being unafraid to speak up, even at the cost of being rude, and to take action if lines are crossed. That, and also just grow a backbone, have a spine, stand up for something. Scoot McNairy was so frustrating to watch as the American husband, Ben Dalton. He was such an annoying and at times unlikable character because you know what he should be doing in almost every situation, and he continued to just do the opposite. Every single one of the actors contributed significantly to making the scenes more believable. While to the audience it seems obvious that something is wrong and that the Daltons should certainly leave, the actors' performances make each of their bad choices plausible. It actually made me question how I would really act if I were in some of the same situations. James McAvoy was extremely impressive as the British husband, Paddy. He completely transformed into that character. It was one of those performances where you forget that he's not that loud and irreverent person that he's portraying. And for Mackenzie Davis as the American wife, Louise Dalton, I think unfortunately probably far too many people can relate to her experiences with her husband. The two are consistently on different pages. He doesn't have her back like a spouse should, and she's often compelled to speak up because of his inaction. All in all, I definitely recommend going to see this one in theaters because it is very much one of those movies that benefits from having a shared experience with the other members of the audience. It has some funny moments that are mixed into the onslaught of cringy ones that are just better experienced in a crowd. So go see Speak No Evil in theaters. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, add a comment letting me know what you'd like for me to review next, and subscribe to my channel. I'm working to put out a video review each week, so subscribe to stay tuned. Thanks, y'all.